This is the all-new Bluegame BGM75, and this breaks new ground for Sanlorenzo and Bluegame because it is their first multi-hull. But it is not a multi-hull in the way you might imagine. I'm going to explain a bit more about that during the full tour. It's powered by relatively small Volvo Penta IPS 800 engines for 22, 23 knot top speed, and there's lots of very clever stuff going on inside the interior. So let's not waste any time and get you on board. Before we get into it though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll never miss another tour like this one. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. The BGM75 may be a multi-hull, but it's maybe not quite as wide as you'd expect a multi-hull that's 75 foot long to be, but they've done that on purpose, A, for aesthetics, and B, for ride comfort. They don't want it to be super wide, they want it to cut through the water nicely, and they want to try and avoid that sometimes sort of catamaran bobbing that you can get, certainly when they're very, very wide. You've still got plenty of space down here, and what adds to that is that you've got folding terraces down here at water level. You can see this one's folded up, that's what it's like when it's up, and that one's folded down. But as you can see, it really usefully extends the usable space when they are down. There's some other good stuff going on here as well. This is obviously a tender garage. They've got the cushions arranged to sort of hide the mechanicals at the moment, but that is where the tender slides into. And you've got a tender launch system as well, so you can roll it down and off into the water. It's not a full hydraulic bathing platform because of course you've got the platforms either side, but you have got this section here that drops down into the water, and you can probably see the inset steps. So as that goes down, it creates a nice staircase out of the water. Then you have this quite sort of unique access up onto the mezzanine cockpit. You have this single sort of side angled stairway, which offers quite a unique access point up onto the cockpit proper. So, you know, you have your water level lounging area down there where you've got all the toys and the splashing and the swimming. And then you come up here to get away from it, chill out on this seating area here. Now I'll point out from the very start, this is Bluegame, obviously part of Sanlorenzo. Customization, being bespoke, is what this brand is all about. So if there's furniture you don't like, you want something different, you want a specific design house, you can do it. Obviously this is what this boat's gone for. You may want something different, but it's incredibly flexible. But yes, this is your sort of chill out zone with that terrace effect over the water there, but obviously this is the bit that links really nicely into the saloon. We're going to have a look at that in a moment. And I really love this design here, how the glass curves around both sides. Gives you a really nice view in, and also it just means you haven't got any hard angles. It's all very soft and sort of draws you round the corner and forward up the port side deck. This will be, I mean, look at the width of this. It's really wide, like a bowling alley. No guardrails, but these are really tall, so it does feel safe, and you've got a nice amount of coverage as well as you move forward. Feels a little bit exposed up on the foredeck because you've just got these carbon fibre poles with the strings, not proper guardrails. But it's a huge, huge space, and you can start to take in the sort of lovely striking profile of this. It is instantly recognisable as a Bluegame. It's their first multi-hull, but I've seen out on the water doing sea trials quite a lot, and you instantly know which brand has created this beast. And this foredeck is just another really nice single level living space up here, and then it drops down into a well here where obviously you have the table. Of course you have storage forward, anchor lockers and all your working gear, but I really like the way the teak extends all the way forward. That's a very nice effect. And of course underneath here is the full beam owner's cabin, and we're going to come on to that in a moment. For now though, let's stay on deck and head up to the Flybridge. Now it's worth remembering as we talk about the Flybridge that this boat is only 75 foot long. Just look at the size of this. It feels enormous for a boat of that length. In fact, they say that volume-wise, this boat has got the living space of a 90-foot monohull. We'll see about that as we walk through the interior, but I really like the layout and the design of this top deck. Lovely use of natural wood here that sort of draws your eye forward as you come onto the Flybridge. Obviously it's peppered with lighting and speakers, but that works really effectively and obviously produces a huge amount of shade up here. And I'll repeat myself, if you want different furniture, you can have it. I actually think this arrangement works really nicely with the dining table, some relaxed sofas, and then of course the sunbeds right in the exposure of the sun. The teak on this boat feels lovely underfoot as well. It does feel quite luxurious just walking around barefoot on this boat. Wet bar, centrally mounted, integrated with the hardtop. I think it works really effectively. I've got a grill on this side, sink over there, and the usual array of cooling underneath this here. Really nice use of wood again. The detailing is absolutely beautiful. And this is the main helm station on this boat. As we see downstairs, you haven't got a helm station downstairs, you've got a control station, but this is where you're going to do the majority of the driving from. And for that reason, it's important that this is a good place to drive from. And although I've not driven it yet, certainly the position is excellent. I like the triple seats, which are leaning posts, but the base is flipped down so you can sit when you're on passage. The latest version of Garmin's GPS Map 9000s, they're super slick, really good size obviously, and you've got full digital switching, so you have total control of every area of the boat from underneath your fingertips. And obviously you can put charting up here, and you can put radar, and you can put engine information. You can really customize that to however you want to cruise. Again, really nice timber wheel that feels lovely under the hands. It's an IPS boat, and it's got relatively small engines for a boat of this size. IPS 800, top speed of 22, 23 knots and a cruising speed of 16, 17 knots. But that was always the idea from the outset. Smaller engines, more efficient. They reckon it's 50% more efficient than a comparably sized monohull. And of course that gives you joystick control. It's a wide boat, you've got twin pods, but of course you've got the joystick, so you would hope that that makes manoeuvring this thing around a marina relatively easy. From here, let's head downstairs and check out the interior. Step inside then, and the first thing you notice is because you haven't got a lower helm down here, you have an enormous amount of space to play with. You can see the little control station forward. We'll go and have a look at that in a minute. Obviously right after this is your lounging area, your living area, where your sofas are, and the effect of those curved glasses that I mentioned on deck is great in here because it just maintains that view from every angle. The glass disappears behind the sofas, so standing or seating you've got a good view out of here. The television incidentally swings down from the ceiling here. Not great for the people sitting there, but if you're sitting on this side, then you've got a great view of the TV. A little storage unit here. It's really attractively done, but as with outside, if you want to change the furniture in here, there's absolutely no problem doing that. Dining table over here on the port side, set forward. There's a side door over on that side. In fact, there are side doors on both sides, so you can get access in and out of this main deck very easily. Now this boat has got a 3-cabin arrangement with the galley below decks next to the crew quarters. You can have a 4-cabin arrangement where the galley comes up here onto the main deck, and that leaves space for another cabin down there. I think that would work really well, having the galley up on deck. Certainly if it's an owner-run boat, it's obviously more sociable, and it means that everything is here on the same level, but obviously you have the choice depending on how you want to run the boat. And then we come to the control station. So yeah, no lower helm, but you've got the IPS joystick down here, you've got your bow and stern thrusters down here, and of course you've got navigation screens. So if you just want to keep an eye on things, if you want to do slow speed manoeuvring from down here, there is the option to have the joystick in the cockpit as well, so you have a better view back there. But yeah, not a proper helm station, but for just keeping an eye on things, it's quite useful, and it can be completely hidden away. This drops down, this flips over, and you wouldn't even know it's there. Let's head to the owner's cabin. One of the big changes we've seen in multi-hull design across the board is the move away from poking cabins into corners of hulls and making the most of spreading it across the beam of the boat. This bridge deck, so you have these owners' cabins that are spread across the entire width of the boat, and this is a really lovely space. It's beautifully finished, packed with lovely detail, and things like the lamp coming out the bed head there. The lighting throughout is stunning. You've got this sort of lounging area over there. It's not quite a chaise long, but another place where you can just crash out. Nice chair in the corner, and then obviously a nice big bed as well. And I love the design work around the bathroom here. You've got twin sinks, you've got nice smoked glass. I really love this effect running down towards the shower. The toilet section is obviously blocked off because no one wants to see that, but you have got them separated, and it's beautifully executed, it really is. And then moving forward here, you've got a proper walk-in wardrobe, and it really is. Pocket door so you can close it off, but that's a massive space with loads of space to hang clothes, space for shoes and bags and everything. You could really swallow everything in there. It is a spectacular cabin. Remember, 75-foot boat. It's pretty amazing. But let's head down to the starboard hull now, because if we do that, we will find, on this arrangement anyway, the galley and the crew space. There's a day head here forward, so that's the bathroom that guests were using today. And then I think this is an extraordinary galley and crew space for a boat of this size. As I mentioned, if you have the galley up, this becomes a cabin. In this version, it's a really well-spec'd galley. It feels sort of almost professional grade. It's beautifully finished, really high-end appliances. Very spacious, bags of storage, floor to ceiling cooling over here. But for me, it's the crew area that's really impressive. Look at the size of this for a 75 footer. They've got a mess, 2 separate cabins, bunks here with a separate bathroom. And if I keep moving right forward, we are right aft now in the starboard hull. You have another cabin with 2 single berths, and again, its own private bathroom. For a boat of this size, I think the crew would be pretty happy. Let's head to the guest cabins. We are now then in the port hull where you have the 2 guest cabins. They are identical double cabins with en-suites, and much like the owner's cabin, they are really beautifully executed. I really love the use of smoked glass on this boat. They implement it everywhere. They've done it in the wardrobes here, and I think it works really well. It just means you don't get big blocks of timber sort of encroaching in your space and making it feel dark. It works brilliantly. The beds are a lovely size. They're more of a climb into them than in the owner's cabin, but they've thought of that because they've got this nice sort of shallow run of steps so you can climb into bed. And once in bed, plenty of space to sit up and read or use the iPad. You've got a little hull window here, not a huge amount of glass, but you know, you get a bit of a view, and it's at eye level if you sit up in bed, so you will get that view over the water in the morning. Crucially, they have their own bathroom, so privacy is excellent. And privacy is excellent as well because obviously it has separate access from the owner's cabin. The owner has their own access forward, and this is separate off of the saloon, so it's very private. And again, the quality is lovely. The bathroom ware, real marble throughout in the bathrooms, and space for a separate shower cubicle. Let's head to the engine room. This being a multi-hull, there are of course separate engine rooms. You've got an engine in each hull. We've dropped down to the starboard one, but they are very similar. And it's quite funny walking around this thing and then coming down to the engine room to find such small engines. You forget how compact these D8 IPS 800s are. Of course, you've got the pod drive down here as well. They're actually connected to the engines by a jack shaft, I assume, just to keep the weight a little bit further forward, to keep that running attitude as good as possible when the boat's moving along. Not standing headroom here. There is when you come down, and it's actually a really nice shallow ladder down to get in here. It's very easy to get in and out, but headroom is a bit restricted around the engine. But actually the floor drops down by the pod, so climbing around all of that stuff is really easy. You've got a generator in each hull as well, so they're easy to get to, and you've got fuel filters for this side of the engineering space mounted on the forward bulkhead, all really easy to get to. It's very nicely engineered. Thanks very much for watching that tour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a like. If you want to watch more Bluegame content, we tested this boat's smaller sibling, the BG42 in the UK. You can watch that here. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can click here. See you on the next one.